everyone. My name is Udit, and I lead product management for customer experience on the Amazon Canada store. I've been with Amazon for over 7 years, all my time in e-commerce, and a lot of it in product and program management. So very excited to be here and share with everyone my learnings on how to unlock success in digital marketplaces. In the session today, we will talk about looking at the importance of customer journey and what comprises customer journey, frankly, in digital marketplaces. Then we'll double click into some of the key components like search and discovery, consideration conversion, delivery experience, and post purchase to talk through common customer pain points and solutions. And finally, wrap with some key takeaways. So let's get started. Importance of customer journey. Online shopping, as prevalent as it is today, can actually be very overwhelming for customers. With too many choices and complex steps in the process that can lead to decision fatigue. It's kind of pretty evident if you look at click-through rates and conversion rates, which are all generally sub 1% across all the popular marketplaces. So as product managers, our job is to actually start by identifying customer problems before getting into solving them. And based on my experience in e-commerce, I found breaking down the customer journey into 6 key segments very effective as each segment represents a different customer need, and collectively they capture the end-to-end shopping journey. So let's quickly talk through what these different stages are and what each intends to accomplish. We will then dive into each of them later in the subsequent slides to talk through common customer problems in each and solutioning. First comes search. Essentially, this is our gateway into anyone who's shopping online. So our goal here is to help customers find what they are looking for as quickly as possible. Next comes discovery. Think of it as window shopping. Customers may have come for something and they are looking for the product, but they are generally also open to getting inspired and looking for something or discovering a need that they did not know they have. Basically, to be effective in helping customers discover something, our goal has to make sure that we are able to provide them solid recommendations that are spot on and lure them into that. Next comes consideration. This is when the search may have started from many products, narrowed down to a few, and now we have a customer hooked. The customer is actually looking to evaluate whether the short list of products that they've identified meet their customer needs or not. And this is where the deeper evaluation is intended to help them feel more confident about the purchase. The quicker they can get and browse the relevant information, the faster they will be to actually making the checkout. So that's our goal, provide information succinctly to increase their confidence in purchase. Next, conversion. It's all about how can you help customer overcome the purchase barrier. That could be in the forms of price point, how can you offer coupons and stuff. But more often than not, besides just the price point, it's a lot about enabling quicker, faster, swift checkout. How can you make sure that the customers are able to potentially complete the transaction in one click to avoid abandonment of cart? Our shopping journey for customers does not actually end once they've actually so-called gone to the cart and checked out and made the purchase. They are still waiting for the delivery of the product. And that is where delivery experience is such a critical component of customer journey. Essentially, what can we do to make sure that the customers are able to get the product on time? And while they're waiting, whatever information can be provided to them to reduce their anxiety of actually waiting is actually going to play a crucial role in this. Finally, post-purchase. We all know that not all customer shopping journeys end with a happy purchase and no follow-up questions. So the intention of post-purchase is to actually make sure we are able to provide customers easy access to all information they need at the end of their purchase to potentially troubleshoot what they've bought or get customer support or potentially return the products in as easy a fashion as possible, essentially to help maintain and build trust. Now let's get deeper into each of the stages of the customer journey. We'll start with search and discovery. So as I was alluding to earlier, the shopping journey in simple terms starts with the intent of customer wanting to find a product. It is possible that they actually have a product in mind and what they're looking for. Think of it as maybe a Stanley Black & Decker drill. you might go into search and type something like that, which is a very specific search. But more often than not, customer search generally starts with a more broader query. You might not know the Stanley brand. You might actually just start by saying, help me find a drill. Many times you might actually uh, also be open to getting inspired. If you're buying a drill, you might want to drill bits. So the important aspect here is how can we make sure that the customers are able to find products as quickly as possible by using these search terms. Now, of course, these examples that I'm quoting to you are all text. But if you see the graph on the right side, and you might know from your own experience, search is no longer just text. Customers today search for products through multiple different modes, whether it's voice, you could use Alexa or something. It could be visual search, where apps like Amazon, Wayfair, multiple others allow visual search. And of course, not to mention TikTok, right? Image search certainly is also a gaining trend where customers are getting inspired by what to look for. So all of these are important channels, which kind of makes search a multimodal problem. So as we get into understanding more about customer pain points, what generally is the problem that customers face, which kind of is a challenge and a barrier to overcome, is all too often the results that they see in the search are fairly irrelevant. A lot of it could basically be due to ineffective algorithms, or many times it's basically when customers are searching for something, the results actually don't match the query that they actually searched for, or it may not actually be a representation of their prior shopping history. Like, for example, you're searching for the word French with the intention that you might want to learn French and want to buy a book, but the results that actually show you might actually be for a, say, creamy French salad dressing. So this is where the problem is challenging in terms of the relevance of results. It becomes even more pronounced when you're talking about media-related categories, where catalog, query understanding are even harder problems. Besides just the relevance of results or lack of alignment with past shopping history, from a CX standpoint as well, cluttered interfaces are actually just very cumbersome for customers to navigate. Imagine a same shopping app might actually show you different layouts when you search for a product in a grocery category versus when you shop for something in a softlines category, and that kind of adds to cognitive load. Similarly, invariably, while e-commerce companies might try to enable more filters to help customer refine the search, many times what happens is these filters may be irrelevant. Uh, for example, a filter for um, image quality, which is generally relevant for camera, showing up for when you're shopping for a table. These are all pain points that customers very frequently face. What should we do about it? I know these are a lot of problems, right? And you could solve each of them, which itself can be a multi-year undertaking. But what I wanted to talk about today was probably narrowing it down to what are probably the most important needle-moving aspects that, as product managers, you should look to investigate further, leveraging data and look to solve for. First, search and the quality of search algorithms is kind of the most important aspect, right? Investing in machine learning models that actually are able to take into account multiple variable attributes in ranking and re-ranking is super critical. In practice, it doesn't necessarily mean that you might have one model that actually is able to do all this, because uh, it's frankly not feasible to have different attributes of, say, fashion and consumables and different worlds come together to be optimized. So you probably will end up with multiple models and then ranking and re-ranking to eventually surface those results. But at the end of the day, balancing speed and relevance to avoid high latency is also quite important to enhance search algorithms. Next, personalization, increasingly extremely important. How can we make sure that personalization, our customers' prior shopping history, or interests are key input into what gets surfaced as recommendations is super important. If I, as a customer, bought dyed Spring Breeze a month ago, it's very likely that I'm going to buy Spring Breeze again this year. or sorry, this month when I go shopping versus trying a different model. So different companies are trying different things. Amazon, for instance, generally is able to take that into account and show you a badge that she says previously bought that helps customers make them feel that the results are a lot more personalized. So solutions like that definitely help customers narrow down their shopping results quickly and eventually be able to make the purchase decision. Third, we talked about emerging different channels and multi-modes for search. And this is where enabling multimodal search and optimizing for that is supremely important. Two most important ones that are emerging, of course, is conversation search with all the advances in LLM, as well as visual search. And these are both areas where increasingly companies are investing heavily. Um, Conversation search, a good example of that would be something like Rufus that Amazon recently launched, which essentially allows customers to get answers to their queries in a very conversational NLP fashion. Visual search, TikTok Shop is a great platform that actually is entirely image-based first, gets customers hooked on by showing them fast fashion products, help them discover new things, and then enable them to quickly shop as well. So figuring out what are the relevant modes for you based on the products you sell or categories that you manage is important to drive engagement. And of course, it will be miss for me not to recognize the importance of influencers. And that I would definitely say is the fourth thing here on the importance of embracing influencers. Growing segment of customers, especially Gen Zs, trust influencers and their opinion for everything. And that's why figuring out a way on introducing endpoints or integration of influencer content onto websites or platforms, alternatively figuring out how can you simplify making product purchases from the platform where influencers are actually creating and generating content are important aspects that need to be considered as well. Next, let's talk about consideration and conversion. Let's start by first unpacking what these pillars represent. So once a customer has actually narrowed down their search to a handful of SKUs, uh, the very likely next step is that they want to learn more about finer details of what exactly are they going to get with that product. Think of it as if a customer has shortlisted an appliance, does it come with a warranty? Or what do other customers say about the product when it comes to, say, a particular dress? What do other customers say about the fit or the look? These are certainly important aspects that customers are looking when they are thinking about consideration. And of course, besides just the aspects of the feature set, price is significantly an important lever as well that customers are looking to evaluate as they are considering whether to make a purchase or not. Many times, customers are able to see the price on the detail page itself, including some ancillary items such as import fee or handling fee and things like that. And many times, companies also charge a separate delivery fee, which ideally should be shown on the retail page so that customers don't get a delivery, a last minute sticker shock at the end of it. So these are certainly important aspects that kind of go into that consideration and conversion phase. But as you see on the chart on the right side, alarmingly, 70% of online shopping cart abandonments happen in the customer conversion and consideration stage, which is quite a high percentage. And a lot of it kind of goes on to speak to a lot of the aspects that we're talking about here, which is costs, friction in account creation, delivery speeds. These are certainly aspects that are common customer pain points. So let's talk a little more about some of these pain points. As customers are looking to compare products, inadequate information on the product as a starting point can be a problem. Imagine, as a parent, you might be trying to buy a toy for your toddler, but struggling to find what age is the product suitable for is a problem, right? Figuring out what exactly is the right level of catalog information that needs to be available is a problem that many digital marketplaces grapple with. So, looking at it from a catalog quality and enrichment perspective is the first lens I would encourage people to keep in mind. Second, depending on the category, you might actually have another big challenge that customers face today, generally related to fit, very specific to softline categories such as apparel and shoes. But there is really no equivalent of trying a product on yourself. And the anxiety of customers to actually be able to visualize the look and fit is real, because it's just very hard, or rather impossible, to offer a digital shopping equivalent of what our customers can experience for themselves in a physical store. So this is something that is a common customer pain point that product managers need to think about how to overcome. Third is basically comparing different products. As you mentioned, the stage that we're talking about right now in the customer journey is where you've narrowed down from many to a few handful of products. Side by side comparison is important, and customers need to have all the relevant information, relevant attributes that kind of vary from one product to another, uh, easily accessible and available for them to quickly decide the products. And finally, a very common pain point, which is kind of pretty much the highlight of the chart on the right side, is complications in the checkout process. Unexpected costs, stages to fill, details around address, information, wallet, etc., are generally all additional friction points that can lead to cart abandonment. So let's talk through what could be some of the ways to prioritize solutioning and solving for some of these customer pain points. First, goes back to catalog quality. It is just really important for me to emphasize here on how rich catalog data forms the foundation to power all or any experiences that you can think of to improve consideration for customers. This was a very resource intensive exercise till just a couple of years ago, as companies would invest thousands of resources, generally very human intensive, to identify what might be the top SKUs selling on their platforms and manually go about filling gaps so that customers and end shoppers are able to find all the relevant details quickly. But thankfully, with the amazing advancements in generative AI, this can now be done at massive scales at significantly lower costs. So, figuring out integrations with established LLMs out there, if you can't build your own, is certainly an important aspect to think about on how can you enhance product descriptions. We talked about comparison a lot earlier as well. The aspect I'd like to highlight here is, besides just enabling comparisons, it's also important to make it dynamic. By this, what I mean is, when you think about attributes that customers look to compare, these do vary from product to product. It would be a very different set of attributes that customers would like to compare a Model A to a Model B for a camera than it would be for a table. So just recognizing those differences and making the attribute sets that actually show up as those top 5 or 10 for customers to be able to navigate quickly and decide is important. Third, we talked about the size anxiety, the fit anxiety in soft lines, and this is something there is need for innovation, and already great work is happening in how can you facilitate visualization by enabling 3D, AR, VR ways to actually think about how can customers feel more conscious and more settled by how a product would fit is super helpful. Amazon does this, Wayfair does this on visualizing for, say, furniture, on how would a product look in the room, or how would a dress look on individuals. These are certainly also all computer vision problems that there are third parties out there that provide integration endpoints as well. So thinking about how to integrate that into your shopping experience can certainly help if those are categories that you're targeting for customers. And last on this list, but probably the most important here, is simplifying the checkout experience. From a very basic standpoint, figuring out integration points to auto-populate as much information as possible is super critical. You can actually think about integration with digital wallets, which is extremely prevalent and common these days. If customers are checking out as guests, or if it's a repeat customer, the North Star has to be how can you facilitate the entire checkout with just one click, and essentially make the process extremely easy for them. So lots to dwell on, but these are certainly some of the key aspects to think about optimizing for in order to enhance the experience for customers. Probably a good time for me to uh, re-emphasize on the aspect I was mentioning about generative AI and the benefits it brings for a lot of online shopping, which is still today very text heavy. And the advancements in generative AI to enhance texts are fairly advanced, and it can just rapidly accelerate product development. So embracing this could certainly go a long way in how you can accelerate product development and enhancement of the experience for customers. And soon enough, the models will be amazing for images too. So there's plenty to keep tabs on. Now let's jump into the last aspect that I had noted here for us to talk in depth today, which is the delivery experience and post-purchase support. I cannot emphasize enough on how, although this is the final theme, but likely the most common source of customer frustrations when it comes to online shopping. Uh, just taking a step back, what delivery experience and post-purchase encompasses is anything and everything that happens after the customer has completed their online transaction. So it involves actually physical delivery of the product to the customer, as well as access to support if they need any help after the product has been delivered. So maintaining a high CX bar is extremely critical in this phase to basically drive customer satisfaction and repeat purchases. You'll see on the chart on the right side, factors such as delivery fee, waiting for delivery, return expenses, efforts to return. These are all factors that rank at top of online shopping frustration for customers. So figuring out a solution to solve for these and making it as anxiety-free for customers is super critical. Let's unpack a little more on what these customer pain points reflect and what the true customer problem here is. First, let's talk about the anxiety due to lack of transparency. A customer has placed an order. I'm sure you've been in those shoes where uh, you're just waiting for the product to arrive, and many times it's very anxiety prone on not knowing where is the product in its shipment cycle, how many days will it take to arrive, and how many like what exactly, frankly, the time of the day it might actually get delivered to you. So even though companies like Amazon invest heavily in providing CX, in improving CX to provide accurate and current delivery information to customers, Where's My Stuff consistently ranks as the top reason why customers call Amazon customer service. So needless to say, this is something that actually is a recurring customer pain point with a lot of areas of improvement. Next, issues with quality of the product itself. This is something that is a significant trust buster for customers. Unlike physical stores where you can go and pick a product, when you actually receive a product through online shopping, you might not know exactly which individual unit might get shipped to you. And finding whether the box is damaged or the product itself is damaged than what you anticipated you will get definitely feels like being shortchanged. So, critical problem that needs to be solved for. All too often, customers need additional support after they've made a purchase. Think about electronics as categories. If you might have bought a product and you might be struggling to figure out the distinction between an HDMI from a USB-C cable. What type of wires do you need? What type of plug points do you need? These are all common questions customers have. And frankly, many of these questions are not necessarily call it general customer queries. They require expert knowledge and technical knowledge as well that customers do need support on. Figuring that support out is super critical to be able to serve customers effectively for products that they are being sold. And finally, returns. Certainly a big area of online experience from the perspective of how can you make the process easy for customers, recognizing the onus that is being placed on them to trust you to get the product to them based on just visuals that they see online. And finally, at times, customers are just not able to find satisfaction in what they've received. So having challenges in actually completing the return process is understandably a critical customer pain point. It kind of is even more pronounced depending on the type of product. Imagine having bought a heavy, bulky item like a furniture to have to take it to a drop-off point. You may have to hire a U-Haul to do it. And many times you may also have to pay a restocking fee that retailers charge. So these are understandably challenges that customers deal with today, and areas that are problems to be solved for. Let's talk through some of the areas to optimize for as you think about addressing these challenges in the customer shopping journey. So, all starts with transparent tracking. It's just so critical to be able to proactively communicate to customers in what is happening with their order right from the time that they place the order till the time they receive the product is super critical. Customers almost always appreciate over communication. A customer knowing that the delivery might be delayed because of a bad weather would probably be a lot more understanding than a customer who actually just does not know what's happening and might still get the product at the same time. So implementing systems to actually be able to transparently communicate to customers in the platform potentially that they actually use is super critical. Next, quality control measures. We talked about the big problem that customers unfortunately have to face is not receiving the product in the same form or condition that they actually place the order for. So establishing strict protocols and processes to ensure quality controls is super critical. Amazon, for instance, has a long established process of add-on calls where the same customer complaining about an issue twice or five different customers complaining about the same issue with the same product automatically triggers what we call an add-on card, which basically halts the sale of all the products till basically all units of that SKU till we can actually complete bin checks to identify and remediate any defects. So such is the high bar that needs to be maintained, and it's okay to forego some sales in order to avoid any defects actually getting shipped down to customers when you know that there is some risk there. Next, we talk about multi-channel support for customers. When it comes to customer support, creating ways for customers to get answers to their problems in whichever way they want, is only going to pay dividends. Think of it from the perspective of providing self-service videos if they are looking for guides on how to install products. Many customers prefer just chat options. Others might actually want to call you 24/7. These are all different channels, all require significant investments, but ultimately are important ways to enable access to customers, as they just help build a lot of customer trust. Customers will start to feel that they know they can always rely on that particular retailer to actually get support if in case they are not happy or have just follow-up questions on their purchases. And more importantly, many times it actually pays dividends by enabling this support, because that might allow the retailer to actually reduce avoidable returns if customer problem can be solved online or through that call. And finally, flexibility of returns. We chatted about the example of a heavy, bulky product where it's just hard to basically put the onus on the customer to have to ship a big, bulky product from their own on their own time to basically to the retailer. So providing in-home pickup is an option for that. Outside heavy, bulky, for a lot of general customer return situations, it's just super important to create multiple pathways that can allow customers to drop off the product that they've purchased if they don't want to keep it in basically different locations. That flexibility and being able to do that at a different time of the day, wherever they want to, and certainly being able to call customer support is helpful. Besides just access to return channels, customers almost always appreciate flexibility of return windows as well. Retailers have different policies, but it can always be a good idea to offer potentially longer return windows depending on time of the year or seasonality of products as well. Important nugget here. If you're unsure where to start, certainly begin with delivery and returns. I'll just emphasize on how delivery and return related questions are the most pressing and most common customer pain points to solve for in online shopping. Right. Coming to the close of talking through key takeaways on what we covered in the presentation today. I'll start by emphasizing the importance of understanding the customer journey. We talked about how each phase of the customer journey that I broke down into those 6 segments is different, but all of them taken together make up the entire customer journey. All of them require a different and tailored approach to solving customer problems. So it's important to unpack them individually, understand customer pain points, and then identify ways to improve the experience for customers. Leveraging data for iterative problem solving is super critical. All marketplaces, the effective ones especially, rely on extensive data analytics, user feedback, A/B testing to figure out what experiences, what iterations work. We certainly talked through key themes earlier today on themes for solutioning, but ultimately the specific customer experience that may stick with customers to appeal to them is something that will actually happen through experimentation and something that product managers should build comprehensive plans for. Building trust with customers throughout the process is super critical. Basically, making sure that you recognize that actually acquiring a customer is cheaper than retaining a customer, and retaining a customer pays a lot of long-term dividends is important. So prioritize things like delivery and returns versus upstream things like customer acquisition. Not saying customer acquisition is not important, but just know the trust that you build with customers and what can enable repeat purchases definitely has a bigger downstream impact from a top line and customer satisfaction perspective as well. And lastly, embrace emerging trends. We talked briefly about generative AI, on how fast it's helping grow catalog quality and enrichment problems. There are personalization and social commerce opportunities as well to think about from the perspective of embracing these and recognizing that customers now are looking for that aspect when they are thinking about where to shop and what to shop, especially when there are plenty of options available for them to shop. So whoever is able to offer them a more personalized experience is likely going to be the retailer or the digital marketplace that a customer would go back to shop for. And embracing changing customer behavior is also important, right? Like thinking about influencers, the role influencers play, how can we bring in that content onto the marketplace that we are enabling shopping on, or potentially enabling shopping on the marketplaces where the influencers are already there is going to be super critical as well. So I hope you found the session useful in just thinking through different aspects of customer journey and problems to solve for. And basically, this is something that is an iterative process with solutioning that will keep changing as we go along. Thanks for your time and attention today.